Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing well. We might have a little bit of an interruption, but not a big deal. Not sure what any topics are today. I was just reading through a list of things that we inherit from different parents and, um, like our immune system from our moms, our lips and our noses from our dads, hair color from our grandmothers, uh, texture of our hair from our mothers, immune systems from our mothers, and hearts, and so on and so forth. Underneath there was an article about empathy. It was called Empathy Sandwich. Then I was thinking, if we all got fed based on how we care about other people or our lack of how we care about people, would you be full? I just was wondering on that empathy sandwich because I met so many people like there. I'm an empath. No, you do not feel me. You have no clue, and no, you're not. There's dark empaths as well. When you can feel another human being, it just doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing. So anyway, but anyhow, um, I'll pull that up. This one, I notice now I can click on other things and you don't go away. I used to think that they did, but I'm gonna click on this thing that we only inherit from our grandma. I'll go through that list. Genetic traits we inherit from our immediate family members. Natural hair color is from grandma. I don't know how much all of these are true in all families, but from what I can tell, seems to be dimples are inherited from dad. I'm not sure about that, or else both could have. Intelligence is inherited from mom. Well, mine was playing on the wrong team. It doesn't mean she's stupid, but um, that's because intelligence is passed down through the X chromosome, and women have two X chromosomes, while men only have one. Yeah, newsflash, people. The shape of our lips are inherited from our dad. Hair texture from mom. Facial shape from grandma. Biological sex is inherited from dad. Tone of voice is inherited from grandma. I believe these personality traits are inherited from mom. Oh, yeah, I'm not so sure. Maybe if she had raised me, it would have been, well, her strength of character, once again, no matter what side of the fence she's on, still. Fat storage is inherited from dad. I believe that. He was more slender built than the female side of my uh, lineage. Sense of humor is inherited from grandma. That I honestly believe. She was painfully funny. I don't think everybody thought she was funny as I thought she was, but she was funny. The development of your immune system is inherited from your mom. The small gene is an inherit from your mom, like your height and your bone construction. Um, I don't know because I'm taller than my mom. It could be passed on through my grandfather. He was quite tall. Her dad. I don't know. Sleeping style is inherited from dad. No clue. Eye color from grandma. That's true. Sense of taste is inherited from mom. What you like to eat. Heart. Health is inherited from dad. Motivation is inherited from grandma. Fingerprints are inherited from mom. Pattern baldness is inherited from dad. Empathy is inherited from grandma. Birth weight is inherited from mom. Infertility is inherited from dad. How much you lose weight is inherited from, or how you lose weight is inherited by grandma. Dental issues are inherited from mom. Cleft chins are inherited from dad. Mental health is inherited from grandma. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you. Aging process is inherited from mom. Nose shape is inherited from dad. Smiles are inherited from grandma. Sense of direction is inherited from mom. Oh, my poor sisters. Sweaty hands are inherited from dad. Female health issues are inherited from grandma. Blood type is inherited from mom. Allergies are inherited from dad. And then underneath was that one that was called Empathy Sandwich, and all I had to look at that for a couple minutes, and I had had enough of that article. In fact, I'm clicking off it. It just reminds me of, oops, I unclicked myself, of people that will pretend to have empathy. I don't know about that. Yeah. So, could be in a bad way. What about those people that can hear you thinking or know you're in pain, but yet they receive total enjoyment out of that? Yeah, they're empathic. All right, whatever. It's like these preachers that get up there and yell at you because they love you so much, you know. They're really empathic, you know. So that's why they say sympathy for the devil, because you're sympathizing with him. Um, that's not empathy. That's not an actual feeling coming out of yourself. That's more like you just signed your name on the dotted line because you wanted to participate in that group. It's like sending a sympathy card to somebody in the hospital. Do you actually feel their pain as an empath, or are you sympathetic with them at that moment? I'd say it's sympathy. That sympathy, it doesn't say empathy card. It's not, I feel your pain, you know. So, is coffee, although it's a microwavable cup, it's coffee, warm coffee. So, yeah. Anyway, how about if I read some memes? I'll do that for a minute here. Never make the mistake of assuming a person of peace is unskilled in war. Well, that's true. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I'd like to thank my middle finger for always sticking up for me when I needed it. That's a good one. Ha ha. Yeah, it's um some of them I can't really read to you. They're more like pictures and then if I start reading something and I don't agree with it, we'd both be in trouble. Aha, here's somebody, a post that starts with, I'm calling on all prayer warriors, and they're like me, and it's got their eyes like rolling up in their head. Yeah, I hear you. I know. Yeah, if they're actually prayer warriors, you don't have to call on them. They'd already be doing it. Hi, here's a good Psalm 103:5. Sounds like a rock and roll station 103.5. Lord, renew my energy when I feel tired and weak. Yeah. Next time he says he's a good guy, remember, so was Chucky. You know, that little murderous doll. Yeah, that's about it. Here's something. Here's to the good old days when we could make fun of each other without everybody getting their panties in a bunch. The Wizard of Oz is 84 years old. If Dorothy were to encounter men with no brain, heart, or courage, she wouldn't be in Oz, she'd be in DC. I had seen that the other day. That's a pretty good one. That's true. I thought they were going to say she'd just be in this current era, you know, because there are so many people with cold hearts and not too much intelligence, you know. They think they're smart. I grew up in an era where men didn't actually just have one skill. You know, now everybody thinks they're just um, a glorious creation because they can do one thing well, which is cool. But I grew up when we didn't really have a choice whether to be a jack of all trades or not because you just had to do what needed to be done to make your world go around, you know. So we learned how to do many different things because we had to. We didn't have a choice, you know. And then, even when I had a choice on whether to learn something or not, I would think, why not? What else do I have to do with my time, you know? You know, if you see what I mean. You know, it's like when a person goes to work. Yeah, you could be sitting at home. Um, like I got a lot of work done this morning and I could have just sat. First, I wouldn't have accomplished anything, but actually, how good would a person just feel sitting there? You know, it's like my adopted dad had worked for the state for 31 years. Um, then, when he retired, he sat around for a few years and just gained a ton of weight, and then started riding bike up to the corner and back, which was like a mile one way, and dropped a bunch of weight because he wanted to go hunting out into the mountains. You don't go in the mountains if you're out of shape. You just don't. And think that you're gonna kill like an elk or something and get that out of like if it's in a ravine or something. There's no way, no possible way. So he lost that weight. but then he went back to school and got his boiler license and went to be a janitor at a school. And so I watched him, as a matter of fact, when I was a little kid, get his GED and go back to night school so he could take um it's right there, not architecture, wait, oh geez, it's, I'll get it, um oh, maybe not, I'll think about it here for a minute. Like drafting, it's something else though, and my friend did that too. I should be able to think of it right now, but I can't anyway. So I watched my dad go to night school and work during the day when I was a little kid to further his education. So that was always a good thing for me to see. And then when I went back to community college here in my town, there was a 70-year-old in our class. They had placed him in the wrong class, but it was just cool seeing somebody older actually out there wanting to learn something because he had worked for General Motors, the car company, creating color schemes within the cars and whatever, and had to learn about some computer stuff so he could continue his what he did for a living. And dude was really cool. He had it was a Ford Taurus, I do believe, but it had a SHO motor in it, that hemispherically enclosed ones, the show motors, the SHOs. Oh, that was a badass car. I mean, just the guy was cool. Cool old man. So, yeah. Point is, yeah, even if you're able to retire, you're just gonna really, unless you live out in the country and you have plenty of things to do all the time, if you're just sitting, you're just gonna waste away even quicker and you're gonna be really unhealthy while you're doing it. Even if people have health problems, get out there and walk, do something, stretch, exercise, turn some music on, dance while you're vacuuming or whatever. Do something with your body. Otherwise, you're going to stagnate, you know? So, there's not much else to do. I mean, if I knew, like, say you're an angel and you came down here to help humanity, but yet you could live in comfort and you could stay, like, in your fear in heaven, and you could have stayed in heaven and um not helped humanity at all, but God wouldn't be mad at you. You just decided you didn't want to do it. Um, really, what more? I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of things to do no matter where you are. Assuming, too, that you knew you were going to be okay through the whole thing, that might be a deal maker or breaker, too. Like if you knew for a fact you're going to be okay no matter what. But what if you didn't know you were going to be okay no matter what? Or what if you were tricked and they told you were going to be okay, but you weren't? I don't know. I'm just thinking. Because I think some of us feel like that happened to us. We came to help, but we ended up like, yeah, whatever. you know. Not maybe getting stuck, but feeling like we're stuck. Yeah. I'm just telling you, some of you were put here and some of us weren't. Believe what you want. So I don't take anybody's bullshit. I'm not going to have anybody ever scrutinize me, my personality, or lay judgment on me. Hey, do you want to do that because I believe in family life and what God created and only that? Have at it. I don't care. If you want to become a part of this clown show and interject what God is in that and have the pretense of like no gender division within humankind, and women aren't sacred. If you're a man, they're not sacred to you. They're no different than you. If you truly believe that, have at it. Teach everybody that. I'm not going to be teaching people that. So that's just my outlook on the whole thing. Because I know I've always been a female and I always will be. I don't care who says what. You could say, well, your soul's going back to God and you're not going to be anything. Okay, that's what you believe. I believe differently. I believe I existed before and I will again, and I've always been female without any man parts in me or on me. So you think what you want and you teach what you want, and I'll believe what I want to believe, you know. Yeah, they tried to say all this gender stuff, blah, 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 blah. Still can't get past the chromosomes, but they want to, you know. The spark of life is there. And so our fathers determine our gender. May come through the Father. It's the Spirit of God working through people. So, really, our parents didn't give us anything. God picked it all for us, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, what do you think about it? I mean, do you really think that gender doesn't matter here or in the hereafter? They say the angels were without sex, and I've told people they weren't genderless. They just were not having sex. If they didn't have a sex, they wouldn't have been able to come down here and rape the women of the earth because they found them fair. Well, that's not too fair, is it? So now people are teaching that angels never had a gender. Well, then, how did that copulation happen? You want to tell me that? You know, could be a spiritual thing, but it's not. Or it wasn't, you know. It isn't that Satan being a male entity can't work in a female, um, his other half, that entity. That doesn't mean um, they're either one or the other still. Just like I'm a part of God, but I am not a male part of Him. And what He gave to me, He doesn't have. He gave that to me. What He gave to you, He doesn't have. He gave that to you. But people are going to try and describe what God is with a fleshly explanation. and it's spiritual. It's impossible. My spirit is female. Well, here, so is my body, but I am a female. I know a lot of people are confused on all these things, but, well, and they all have their own opinions, whatever. It's just like me giving birth to sons. They're from me, but I didn't make them female just because they're from me. They're still male. It's the same thing. Anyway, I know men want to believe that they have, oh, they get in touch with your female hormones. Just don't do it around me. I've had enough of that weakness. If I have to have more testosterone in my body because you're not doing your job, well, then so be it. I guess I'll just have to adapt to that while I'm here. But that just really isn't the way it is. And it is unjust. It's grotesque, as a matter of fact. That takes all the sacredness away from a woman and what a real birth of a child is. It's disgusting. You know? Even if it had a woman's body and the mind of Satan and it was male, it's still that woman's body that he's using. It doesn't make that a man. But people want to mix the spiritual and the physical together. And yeah, that is what makes us up. But with all the confusion in there like that, that's where the younger generations are struggling. And these adults that are out there preaching all these confusing things to other people and going along with that with them with that sickness. It's getting down with the sickness, and that's disturbing. I've tried to tell it before, but people aren't listening. I think where I heard that, I'm not going to say right now, but I think this mofo really thinks he's funny. Well, you're not that damn funny. You're funny, but not that funny. Because what happened before this earth cannot be described in the flesh, but yet it is. That's, and it's not being depicted the right way. But I know it's going to be pushed to the very end by certain people for their own selfish reasons, and that's something that they're just going to have to deal with in the future, whether they like it or not. So, God is not described as he, she. So, and his image is male, depiction in the flesh. From what I understand, maybe I don't know anything. In fact, life hasn't taught me anything. Well, it has taught me one thing. Every day, mostly men on this world are taking what is the sacred female and flushing her down the toilet. Might as well flush the babies down there too, because nothing is sacred to you. That includes you. If it had been the men that had babies, that would be who they would be. But they're not. Why can't they get over that? I don't want to be a man. Why do you want to be a woman? Aren't you happy with who you are? Do you have to mix them both up to feel like you're something that you weren't before? Or if you're a part of your mother and a part of your father, do you have to have all the anatomy from both of them to feel like you're godlike in the flesh? Is that what it is? If the Word of God was with God at the beginning, evidently there was more than one there that's not in the flesh. How can it be described as such here? How can you mix the spirit and the flesh that is forever just because I hear and correlate that with what's going to be? Because I still believe I'm going to be feminine in the future. And we're promised glorious eternal bodies, whatever those entail. Evidently, they're forever, so they're indestructible in some sense. And we're going to be peaceful and happy with no more tears, so evidently it's different than this and better. So now the thought of mankind going into woman and the creation of a child, I can buy that. It's all spiritual. If that's what we want to call parthenogenesis, but the human anatomy is not lizard-like. No matter how they want to mix it or paint it, the thoughts of what people are. But I'm a human being and I'm a human woman and I'm not part man and I don't have sex with myself to have babies. Never did, never will. You know? Just stop describing what is spiritual as physical. How can you do that and think that it's natural? Or and why would you want to take away what's sacred to a woman and take that away from her? Why? Why would you want to take the motherhood away from a mother? It's just like slapping her in the face. Oh, you had a baby? Oh, you stupid bitch. Go make yourself another one. We don't care. We didn't have to participate because you did that all by yourself. There's no union between a man and a woman. It's not blessed, it's not sacred, and that creation that God helped us make as babies, none of it means anything. It's the same difference. It's a special gift from us, from God on this planet, to be able to feel how He felt with that energy that He put into making us. And that's what women are meant to understand, and men are meant to protect that, but they aren't. There's nothing glorious or sacred about that to these creatures that don't care. So the energy that the woman put in to helping God achieve his little creations, you know. But the mindlessness that the men have put into it is clear, or their children wouldn't be like they are, what they do inherit from their father. So I have a face like a man, like in the Bible, face like a man and hair like a woman. What does that make me? A man. I do have my father's nose. So maybe I do have a face like a man. I resemble both my parents actually almost equally. I think a lot of us do. Some of us are like the spitting image of one parent or the other. So if I was wrong about not feeling feminine, that I would be my feminine self in the future, I mean, wouldn't God have me practicing to be part man too? Wouldn't he say like in the future you're gonna be king of the world, so I want you to practice for this leadership role. So I'm gonna make you a man this time so you can feel what that feels like. Well, that hasn't happened, and I don't believe it's going to, but that's my perspective. And here's another twist on that, too. What if Christ came back as a woman, and then that's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords? But you were taught that Christ was a man. Well, maybe he's both. Maybe he's just a hermaphrodite, and that's the way everything is. Instead of actually being a part of the Father and the Father for us, it's actually just your mom. Well, that sounds more satanic than the actual reality of how God created us, a man and a woman, and then you have a baby of one gender or the other, maybe twins or triplets, quadruplets, you know, so on, of different genders. And being an actual hermaphrodite is very rare. And the wolf you feed is who you'll be. So if you're a man that wants to acquire your feminine qualities from your mommy, well, dude, put on a dress. Start practicing. Maybe that's what you're going to do next time. Maybe God's going to make you a mommy. Maybe you need to see what that feels like. I don't know. I've had to do manual labor and just as hard as a man. So if a man wants to be king after he works that hard, well, maybe I deserve that too then. Because you're certainly not honoring my motherhood or the sacred feminine within a woman. So I might as well be a man, eh? Well, come over here. I'm going to unzip my fly and on your head. That's how you make me feel. Because you don't hold what's inside me sacred, so why should I honor you for that? You don't deserve it then. It's ethereal. The Christ spirit that is masculine that talks to me, and it isn't a feminine, although the feminine spirit can help guide us to the Father too, with the Christ's help. Still a masculine spirit that's guiding the whole situation, not the combination of them both. That's the satanic wish on this planet to mumble and jumble everybody together. So there is nothing sacred for a marriage or a birth or any of it. That's what's going on. I hope you don't help them. Please stop helping them. It's rather repulsive. So you don't honor your mother as a female. It's just part man, and that's it. Maybe her mind is, but her body wasn't. And that's who she chose to pay allegiance to, and that's why some people, like I do, have a very cold-hearted mother. And in that respect, she does act more like a man. And if you're guided by the female spirit, you might have heard my thoughts when you were a little kid, praying for the whole world. That doesn't make me a man. It doesn't make me God. It doesn't make you a woman because you can hear the female spirit either. Or that you got your dimples from your mom or whatever. Your sense of humor from your grandmother. That could be a good or a bad thing depending on your grandmother. Thought it was rich. My older sister, Teresa, first time I met her, and my grandmother were sitting at my kitchen table, and my sister said to me, "Did you know your mother was a whore out on the streets to buy drugs for the man she was living with?" And my grandma interrupted her and said, "Weren't you out there with her?" I'm like, oh, wow. But that's where I get my directness from, is from my grandmother and her sense of humor. And I thought that was just flippin' hilarious, you know. She thought she was dirtying me somehow by telling me about the mother who had raised her her entire life. Oh shit, my grandma just nailed her to the wall. If you're hearing me, Grandma, that was beautiful. Her name was Eleonora. Yeah, real pretty, my pretty little grandma. So, yeah. Oh shit, that was funny. That was the year I was 34. That was the year I started not only meeting my blood for the very first time, except for my own children, but that's when I started really realizing that it didn't matter where I grew up. All I ever had was God in my heart for that guidance of what a sound mind and heart should be. And I couldn't look anywhere but within myself, maybe gather some examples if they were good, or the bad ones that I had to expel or haven't yet. But yeah, so that taught me a big lesson, that although I had envy thoughts for people that had natural families, that although a narcissist mother raised me, my birth mother was just like her. And that, when that hit me, it was like, them women could have been sisters. Their height, their weight, their body shape, just almost all kinds. Even they look more related almost than my birth mother and I and my adoptive mother. My adoptive mother and my birth mother could have been sisters or at least cousins by what they looked like. And I was a little bit different than even both of them in a lot of ways. So this weird coincidences. It's like, oh, want to give your kid away? Well, we'll just give her to somebody just like you anyway, you know. Except she didn't go out on the street, but she might as well have, because even though she was Eastern Star and connected with the Illuminati, they acted like a bunch of hose bags. You should see a whole group of them um, together. It's disgusting. Unbelievably so. Um, think about yourself in a room with hundreds of witches and warlocks and think that that's not a issue, or they wanted me dead. They always hated me. I didn't like them very much either. Not every single one of them hated me, but most of them, because they saw something in me and I saw something in them, you know. I know somebody that says, oh, they don't care if you're a witch or a warlock. Well, on a certain level, I don't care either. But if you're doing things that are going to affect other people, well, that's where I care enough to try and stop you, no matter what. So, if you're teaching people that, uh, like marriage or birth or these types of things that are gifts from God to each individual, either being a father or being a mother or being united in a marriage, you know, marriage between one man and one woman. What is a family? That's not several women or several men. It just isn't. You know, the sacredness is being taken out of everything we hold dear. So, ladies, speak up. How do you feel about the fact that some people are going around um, calling you part man, basically? I don't like it. I know a lot of younger people on this planet, you don't see an issue with it, but I'm telling you that what we are supposed to hold dear and what is sacred to us is being dirty. Honor your mother and father. Okay, it's only one person. No problem. I don't have to reach very far to honor that, because it's not two, it's just one. That makes it not as hard. It's less work that way. Yeah. Just let's just get rid of the woman and let them men have their way with each other. Just get all the women and children out of the way so these regressed men can pretend they're part female. They can pretend that women are part men, but they could do it by themselves. In fact, if there's women that believe they're part men, they might as well join them. And that's probably a big reason why there's a lot of fertile people on this planet right now, maybe that's God's way of saying, hey, I've seen enough of this shit. I don't need to see any more to know that I don't want it to go on like this. We all have our own beliefs. I just do not believe you can describe God as a fleshly essence and combine the male and female together, and that's what you get in your idea of what God is. When I know He made me separate from a man, and what I am is not in a man, and the thoughts of what a man might be in me. The thoughts, the mind, or the heart. That does not make my physiology and my own thoughts. I hear that, but I have my own that as a man you do not have. It's disturbing. I know I just said that a while ago, but it is. Yeah, I wasn't respected or honored for having my children anyway, so don't make it any worse and stop pissing me off. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Or maybe you just really don't know any better. Yeah. It's not a physical thing. You cannot describe what God is in a physical sense. You can describe what His image is. You can describe what people are. You cannot describe birth coming from a man. Only a part of that thought, and that's not a physical thing. That physical thing was a birth given to woman and only woman, and the man's not entangled in that. That's between the mother and the child. That's a gift from God. That's sacred. Told you what I'd do if I had a penis. You better stop that. You better pray to God I never have one. I better pray to God I never have one. Oh. Yeah, you have leadership skills. Now what you gonna do with them? Gonna keep mixing what's material with the spiritual? And that's how you're gonna describe God. I mean, you can describe a woman, some people can, as part spiritual, and the male um, spirit of guidance still does not make me a man. I mean, I hate to wrinkle my nose at you, but if you really think that there's a part of me inside that I have to get in touch with, like my masculine side, where's the spirituality in that, and what happens to the woman in that process? That's why I have an issue with all this feminism, this feminist movement. It sounds, yeah, it reminds me of other movements. Um, It's so demeaning. It's just degrading. We don't need a king. We just want a queen, just like over in England. Why have a man doing what a woman can do? Why do we even need men? If women can parthenogenesis, then why do we even need men? You still have to have the female body to have a baby. So maybe men are obsolete. I know you're obtuse, but if there wasn't something that went against my grain when I heard these things, I'd let it go. But um, there, it does bother me. So evidently, there's a reason why, and that's why I'm still talking about it. When I hear something like that, it's like I can even respect the person saying it, and I have a really sneaky suspicion that he knows exactly what he's doing and why he's doing it, and it could be to make me talk about it more. I have no clue on that for sure, but that's my suspicion. But I think how the male and female were separated is because they were both made like twins and separated like that, not because they were all glommed together, you know. And she was taken from his side, be like if my cat was here and somebody come to grab her, she'd be taken from my side, you know. It's not literally from my side, you know. Like she was kidnapped and um, maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe men have to figure that out. Hey, your woman was taken from your side and now you have to save her. What are you going to do? Call her a man and tell her that when she gave birth, none of that mattered and it wasn't a gift from God, and that the man actually gave his, yeah, he gave his essence, but he did not give his energy into that, in a sense for the beginning, but the actual work, well, I mean, it's God given. That's his energy and his strength. I'm just talking about the gift, the sacred gift of motherhood and being a woman that these men are trying to demolish on our planet. And excuse me a minute, I see a wolf spider climbing up my wall. Just a minute, I'm gonna see if I can get. I got it. Whoa, you creepy, creepy thing. It got off here. I got it. Oh, is she? Wow. I hurt myself. I it it fell off the wall and then was on the floor and I backed up and smacked my foot. I injure myself a lot. I don't know, it just happens just like that. Oh, I bruised my heel from stomping his head. Yes, I did. That just really just happened. Well, how about that? Wow. Cuts like a knife. Ow. Dang, that hurt. Same leg I went through the floor onto. Wow. When it rains, it pours. Anyway, cheers, everybody. That tripped me out. Have one more smoke with you before I cut it off. But yeah, I just want to make that really clear. This is specifically for a friend of mine. Will you knock it off? You know, we know God made a man and a woman separately. When we are not combined in our flesh, we're combined in our spirits. And it has nothing to do with the physical. And it doesn't make us part one or part the other. It makes us who we are made to be. Like if you're a dad, you're not the mom. And if you're the mom, you are not the dad. Why can't people get a grip? Was that so fucking hard for you to understand that it's the spiritual is not the physical? And I still say when I drop dead, I'm still going to be a female. I've never been a male and I never will be. I wasn't made to be one. I have a lot of practice being me. I don't want to practice being you, and I don't even want to pretend that I'm part man. And I'm going to hold what the sacred feminine is for every other woman and mother out here and not let you dirty the gift that we got from God. Like the rest of these fucking clowns in their dresses. I hear that one more time out of you. Might as well put a dress on. You really might as well. You might as well put combat boots on your wife. I mean, I have a pair too, but I don't know if she's going to combat. But I might, you know, because I'm a fighter like that. Can't you tell? Well, that isn't gender discriminatory, I guess, when it comes to fighting for people. But if you don't hold your woman as a sacred feminine, you really don't deserve her. That could be a part of the problem in a lot of marriages. You probably are treating her like you would one of the dudes, you know, or you're treating the dudes like they're women. Yes, we need to get in touch with your feminine side, boo boo. It's not that you could hear my thoughts or out of my heart or that feminine touch that you could hear within yourself. You have to take that on into yourself and become a part of that. Okay, got it. I understand, Baphomet, exactly where you're coming from. You have to combine the both so you're a part of this world. And women aren't sacred, birth isn't sacred. It's all because some dude, part woman, could have a baby. It's not the woman with the immaculate conception from the thoughts of the Father. No, it's an actual physical thing, and we're all just part men and women all mixed together like the Baphomet, just like they want. And I would recommend teaching that to the whole world because there is no distinction between a man or a woman anymore. And it doesn't make any difference to anybody except for people like me, you know. That's so disgusting. What the fuck? But yet something tells me that, like when I don't know, maybe this person actually, I don't think they know something I don't. So for some reason, there's some reason I need to talk about this some more. I don't think it's funny, and it's starting to really irritate me because it is the agenda. It's exactly what they're trying to push, and it is not how we were created. Man came onto this planet through a woman's body with the thoughts from the Father and no other way. And um, the first development is different now because we are not in that spiritual realm, and it can't be described on this level from that. This, it just can't. And what we're going to be in the future cannot be described from this. It just can. It's a stepping stone. It's a part of the equation, but it's not the whole thing. And once again, the sacredness of what a woman is being totally trashed. And that's the part I hate most about it. Taking all my hard work and just saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Anything a woman can do, man can do better. Well, you have at it. I hope that works out well for you. Enjoy your men, because you evidently don't know what a woman is and you don't care. If you do, you better make it apparent to me, because I'm getting sick of the fucking nonsense. So I think I'll leave it there. I can't really say anymore. This whole world is just taking what it means to be a mother or a woman, and they're just saying, we don't care about you anymore. What you did means nothing to us. Everybody is on this planet because you came through a woman, but there's nothing sacred or feminine, and we don't need to protect that or cherish that anymore. We're just gonna throw you all away and mix you all up with men, because being a gentler nature doesn't mean anything to us anymore, so you can just all just fuck off. You stupid bitches. We hate you. So we'll just mix you all together and we'll fornicate with everything, and we don't care anymore. That's what's going on. It's the Baphomet's world, isn't it? Well, we'll see about that. So, well, I'm going to let it go here and get this uploaded. I hope I made my point. I don't know if I've made it clear enough where anybody's going to say, yes, my mother is sacred, and yes, the females are to be cherished and protected. Hopefully, I'll see a little more of that out on this planet. And maybe more women will soften up their hearts from your cold ass stupid ways, acting like a man. I mean, for a man to hold his emotions, that's one thing. But for a woman to do it, I don't understand you. That's not a feminine thing. I'm not talking about talking bad words about somebody, or if somebody hurt your feelings, that you have to um like gossiping about them or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Christ Spirit in us, or God's Spirit working through us, and the woman supposedly supposed to be more receptive to that, to be able to help her man. How could we even help a man if he's not open to the nature of what a woman is? to be able to be taught that when you're trying to catch it from from the inside, it's not in there. It's like a man, you're not in me, but I can catch the essence of what it is for you to be a man from observation and your spirit, but I don't want to be part, half you. Never have, never will. So men, start looking at the sacred feminine and the mother and your daughters with that protection like you should be, and beware of these people that want to mix both genders into the baphomet system that's going to destroy all families if they get their way. All right, everybody. God can't be described in the flesh with both genders. It's ridiculous. Knock it off. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.